Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to join you today at your system leadership event. I'm really sorry I can't be with you in person, although I hope to come to an event soon and see your work in person and hear about it. My name is Amah. I'm a forensic psychiatrist by background and Chief Quality Officer at a provider trust called East London NHS Foundation Trust, which provides mental health, community health, and primary care to a population of about 1.8 million people in Bedfordshire, Luton, and East London. And for the last 12 or 13 years, I've been leading the work in this organisation to adopt a more systematic approach to improving things and providing high quality care. For the last year or so, I've been the National Clinical Director for Improvement for the NHS in England, which is a new role designed to help the health and care system adopt and embed improvement as a way of making things better, and to do that in a more robust way. So I was really thrilled to hear about the work you've been doing on the clinical framework, and that you're all coming together today to look at how you as leaders across the system can create an environment in which you can bring that clinical framework to life. I just wanted to share a few thoughts on having looked at your vision and the framework that you've co-developed and co-designed together. But the first thing I'll say is how pleased I was to see the quadruple aim as your guiding aim, really, as you conduct this work. I think that's a really laudable goal to set, and one that is at the heart of the sort of constitutional and statutory basis for the integrated care system, to be able to improve the health of the population, to provide the best possible quality of care, to do that in a way that maximises the use of resources, and to look after the well-being and welfare of the people that deliver care, as sort of an enabler to the other three outcomes. It's at the heart of the ELF strategy, the East London Foundation Trust strategy that we've been working towards for the last 6 or 7 years. And it's one that I think will give you the opportunity to really think about how you balance across those four domains as you start applying improvement and your collaborative approaches to system leadership, in thinking about the optimal design of the system around the people that you serve in your local communities. I loved seeing the use of language that recognizes the complexity of the system, thinks about how you're going to go about this work in a systematic and intentional way, and create a culture that encourages continuous improvement. Um, I do think there's opportunities to think about how you're going to achieve this. The principles in the framework you've created together are really clear and crisp, and I know they will guide you as you do this work together. Um, but I think there's an opportunity to really think about how the use of a management system, a system of enabling you to deliver this goal, might help you clarify the way in which you go about achieving the end result. So, as an example, your clinical framework talks about design and it talks about improvement, and those for me are two aspects of a management system, and they are different. Perhaps we'll start with the topic of improvement, because it's a word that's used a lot across the health and care system today. And that's a fantastic thing, because using the word improvement brings the concept of hope. It brings an idea that things can get better. It brings optimism and ambition. But it also means that we can start to be really liberal about what we mean by improvement and actually start to lose definition. So for me, improvement is about applying a systematic approach to working through something that's really complex. Fundamental to improvement is the involvement of a diverse range of perspectives, particularly those that are closest to the issue that we're trying to solve, and the use of experimentation, of trying things and learning from what works and what doesn't work in order to adapt rapidly, and using data to inform us. And many of those principles are actually really explicit in the clinical framework that you've co-designed, which is fantastic. And there's I think, a real opportunity for you to think about how you as a system can apply improvement across organizational boundaries to help you deliver on the things that really matter for your local population. A management system contains improvement as one element to it, but it's not sufficient to just have improvement. You also need to have a way to plan and prioritize and redesign. That's really fundamental. You need a way to manage daily work, and you need a way to assure yourselves that you're delivering what your population would expect from you. And those four aspects for me, the planning and redesign as one element, the management of daily work, being able to assure ourselves and our communities that we're delivering what they would expect, and then using improvement to work through complex issues. That, for me, those four aspects are different aspects of the management system, and they ought to be part of your arsenal about how you're going to achieve the goals that you set out. Of course, when we think about applying improvement in the way that we've just described it, it takes quite a lot of effort to be able to do that in a really intentional way that delivers results. Most of our experience about improvement has come from within single organizations. When you look at the history of improvement over the last 40 or 50 years, not just in healthcare, but in other industries too, the places that have really shown results in adopting and embedding improvement have been within single organizations. And that's true for healthcare too, that we can probably point to examples of organizations that have really built belief about improvement, that have developed capability, that have really rethought how they lead in order to give power to those people at the point of care to be able to identify and solve problems, and the dividend and the results that they've seen from that. There's far fewer examples that I can see where this approach has been applied with rigor across organizational boundaries around geographical populations. And that's, for me, the real excitement of the work you're about to undertake here, is thinking about how you can start to apply what we know works from the evidence base and the science of improvement, and be able to do that on really wicked, complex issues that we can only solve by working across organizational boundaries. And right at the heart of being able to do that is building relationships and building trust. It's fundamental to being able to improve with a team is to have the psychological safety and the relationships that you need to be able to work together and solve a problem together. And that is true also when we work across organizational boundaries and apply improvement. So I'm really glad that you're coming together today to get to know each other, to build relationships, to start to share problems and share solutions. And that's at the heart, I think, of the foundations of what it really takes to improve across a system. When you want to go beyond relationships and trust and collaboration to actually starting to apply improvement as a method, I think there are a few things to consider as a system. One is your function as a convener to bring people together, to be able to start learning together, to share ideas, to be able to problem solve together. I think that convening function is really important. The second thing I think you should consider is how you can build improvement muscle. So building the capability and the capacity across the system to be able to improve. And obviously we are all in different places on that journey as single organizations, but we probably need to think as a system, what is the variation and how do we make sure that all parts of our system have the relevant and right amount of improvement, skill and capacity to be able to contribute. The third is to create a shared approach to improvement. Now, each organization will probably have its own language and culture and ways of improving. But as a system, we need to also think about, what does it mean for us when we use the word improvement? What are the absolutely core principles of how we want to improve that we want to hold true to when we say we're improving something? And improvement is more than just a word. It is a philosophy, but it's also a discipline and a science. And so, if we want to be effective, we need to apply the rigor of the science to be able to do this. And, without needing to choose between whose method is better, there are some core principles at the heart of all improvement methods. And I think it'd be well worth some time to sort of together co-design what it is we mean when we want to improve together. And then the final thing I think we should consider as a system is starting to work collaboratively on improving a small number of things that really matter. So, the planning process should hopefully help you identify a small number of priorities that are ripe for improvement, because they're complex, they're wicked issues, and they can only be solved across organizational boundaries. And then pick maybe one or two of those and start learning your way into it and applying improvement in this way. So I'm really excited to hear a little bit more from Francis and the team about the outputs from today, and to follow your progress over the coming months. And I do hope I'll be able to get the chance to come and see some of your work in person soon. Thanks again for inviting me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.